Have you ever felt like you're fighting a battle on two fronts? Against all the challenges the world throws at you, and at the same time against the doubts swirling around in your own head? Well, today, we're going to explore how to turn those exact struggles into your greatest source of strength. We've synthesized the wisdom from 4 really powerful books to create a practical guide for winning those inner battles. Let's dive in. It all starts with a feeling I think we've all had. You're in a meeting, maybe you're talking to a family member, or you're dealing with a boss, like Stor from Thomas Erikson's book, and you just can't help but think, why don't they get it? This feeling, this idea that we're surrounded by people who just don't think like us, that's our first enemy. Let's call it the battle without. But, there's another enemy, one that's way more powerful. As Darius Farrow points out, it's the one that lives inside our own heads. It's fear. It's self-doubt. It's that little voice that whispers, you're not good enough, you should play it safe, you're just gonna fail. This is the enemy within. And honestly, it's often the one that truly holds us back. So we've got idiots on the outside and fear on the inside. Sounds pretty bleak, right? Well, here's where we're gonna flip the entire script. Ryan Holiday, pulling from some ancient Stoic wisdom, gives us this game-changing idea. What if those idiots, those fears, those obstacles, what if they aren't actually in your way? What if they are the way?
So here's our game plan for this explainer. First, we're going to clearly define these enemies we're up against. Then we'll unlock the superpower of perception. After that, we'll build a practical toolkit for action. And finally, we'll see how to totally transform our mindset, turning every single obstacle into a genuine opportunity.
Okay, so we're fighting on 2 fronts. The first is with the world around us. The difficult people, the frustrating situations. The second, and you could argue it's the more important one, is the battle inside our own minds. Let's break them down. In his book, Thomas Erikson tells this great story about a guy named Stur, a successful entrepreneur who genuinely believed that anyone who didn't think or act exactly like him was a complete and total idiot. And we can laugh, but how often do we kind of do the same thing? We see someone disagree with us, and our brain just defaults to, well, they're just wrong, or maybe they're an idiot. Erikson's solution to this is pretty fascinating. He suggests these idiots aren't idiots at all. They're just people with fundamentally different behavioral styles. He breaks it down into 4 colors. You've got your reds, who are driven and direct, your yellows, who are social and optimistic, greens are stable and caring, and blues are analytical and precise. See, the friction isn't malice, it's just a language barrier. It's like we're all broadcasting on different radio frequencies, wondering why no one's picking up our signal. But dealing with other people, that's only half the story. Darius Farrow argues that the real war is internal. It's that fear of failure, the fear of what other people will think, that nagging self-doubt that stops us from even getting started. This is the enemy that paralyzes us, that makes us procrastinate on our dreams. It's the voice that convinces us that an idea like Michael Jordan's, that limits like fears are often just an illusion, applies to everyone else, but not to us. And this brings us to the critical turning point in our whole discussion. What if the problem isn't the difficult person? What if it's not the scary situation? What if the real battle is actually in how we choose to see it? This is the core of Stoic philosophy, and it's the central idea in the obstacle is the way. Right here, this is the fundamental difference. With the problem mindset, something happens, and boom, we have an immediate, uncontrolled emotional reaction. A boss yells, we feel angry. We fail, we feel shame. But the empowered mindset slides in a crucial step, perception. The event happens, we choose how to perceive it, and then we create a deliberate response. That little space between the event and the reaction, that's where all our power lies. So why is this so hard? Well, it's because our minds are literally wired with these little biases. Dr. Julie Smith breaks down these common mental traps. There's emotional reasoning, I feel anxious, so this meeting must be dangerous. Or all or nothing thinking, if I don't get this promotion, my entire career is over. Just recognizing these patterns is the very first step to breaking free from them. This quote just nails it. Think about this. During the big financial panics of the 19th century, while everyone else was freaking out and losing everything, a young John D. Rockefeller saw an opportunity. Not to celebrate their bad luck, but to learn. He watched what others did wrong, he saved his money, and he basically built an empire from the ashes. He chose to see opportunity in disaster. That right there is the power of perception. Okay, so mindset is absolutely crucial, but it's only half the battle. So what do we actually do? How do we put all this into practice? Let's build our toolkit. We're talking 4 practical strategies pulled from all our sources to help you win these battles day in and day out. All right,
Here's the game plan. First, we reframe our mind. Second, we learn to understand and adapt to other people. Third, we take action, no matter how small. And fourth, we build lasting resilience. Let's break each one down.
Step 1 is all about creating a little bit of distance. Dr. Julie Smith suggests we see our emotions like the weather. You can't stop the rain, right? But you know it's not going to last forever. You acknowledge it, but you don't have to let it soak you to the bone. The same thing goes for your thoughts. You can have a thought like, I'm going to fail this, but you don't actually have to believe it. It's just a thought passing through your mind.
Step 2 is all about practical communication. Instead of getting frustrated with that idiot at work, use Erickson's framework. If you're talking to a direct, results-oriented red personality, just get straight to the point. If you're with a supportive green, offer some reassurance. With an optimistic yellow, share their enthusiasm. And for an analytical blue, you better come prepared with the facts and data. You're not changing who you are, you're just adapting your approach so you can actually be heard.
Step 3 is about one thing and one thing only: action. So often, fear and overthinking just paralyze us. Ryan Holiday tells this great story about Amelia Earhart. When she was offered the chance to be the first woman to fly across the Atlantic, she was only going to be a passenger. She could have easily said no, that it wasn't the right opportunity. Instead, she said yes. Why? Because she knew that just starting, anywhere, anyhow, is how you build momentum. Action truly is the antidote to fear.
And finally, step 4. How do we build that unshakable inner strength? Well, Darius Farrow gives us a really simple loop. Confidence comes from competence. You want to be a confident public speaker? Get competent at it. Practice. You want to be confident in your job? Get better at your skills. It's a cycle. As you improve your abilities, you see the results and you repeat the process. That's how you build real, earned competence that can't be easily shaken.
Now, the ultimate goal of this entire toolkit is to build what the Stoics called an inner citadel. Imagine a fortress inside your mind, built brick by brick with every challenge you reframe, every action you take, and every skill you build. This is that source of strength you can rely on when things get really tough, making sure that no matter what's happening on the outside, your inner core stays calm and strong.
And this brings us to our final and I think most transformative idea. We've identified the enemies, we've learned how to shift our perception, and we've built a toolkit for action. So now let's bring it all home and change our relationship with challenges for good. This right here is the core message of this whole explainer. That difficult boss, they're not just an annoyance. They are a training ground for your patience and communication skills. That fear of starting a new project, it isn't just a barrier. It's an opportunity for you to practice courage and action. Every single obstacle contains the raw material for your own growth. But to make this all work, we need one final ingredient: will. The will to simply endure. Abraham Lincoln, a man who faced unimaginable personal and national tragedy, relied on this simple phrase. It's a reminder that all things, good and bad, are temporary. It gives us the perspective to endure the hard times and the humility to appreciate the good ones, knowing that the obstacle is just a part of the path. So, I'll leave you with this question. Think about the biggest obstacle in your life right now, that person that drives you crazy, that fear that's holding you back, that setback that feels absolutely devastating. What if you just stopped seeing it as a roadblock? What if, with a simple shift in perception and a commitment to action, you could see it for what it truly is, your greatest opportunity to become stronger, wiser, and better? The obstacle is the way.